Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a beautiful Thursday afternoon right now, as this is gonna be another episode of Crunch Time. This podcast for today, we will be talking about the NBA Finals Game 4 from last night. We will be talking about I know I made my list over the top receivers, but I was going to save that for next week, but we're going to talk about it today. And that will mostly be it for the podcast today. There is one baseball game on today, and that is the Red Sox and the Yankees. They're starting a 4-game series, I believe. That is the only game on tonight on ESPN. And let's get right into it, man. Let's just get right off with Game 1. Game 1 between the Bucks and the Suns. It was a really good comeback game for Devin Booker, I believe. It was a really good game. He had 40 points. The rest bailed him out, though. The rest bailed him out. So many times in that game, they bailed him out. It was the first player in NBA history with 40 points and 9 fouls. Ridiculous. Near the end of the game, they were really trying to let the Suns win that game the rest were. It's it almost looked rigged at some points when it was how is that not a foul, you know? Chris Middleton on the Bucks had 40 points. Beautiful performance by him. Like I said yesterday, he either goes from MJ to one of the worst players in the league at some nights, and he clearly was on his MJ type-ish last night. Very good performance by him. I was very impressed with the way how he shot the mid-range game, the way how he took over the game shooting-wise. Love that so much. That's something that the Bucks need from him, is taking over the game shooting-wise. That is his specialty. Let Giannis go inside the paint and let Middleton shoot. Easy buckets, man. One guy who didn't have a good night was Chris Paul. Didn't shoot that good. He was turning the ball over way more than he usually would. Wasn't really himself. Was really just not was really a liability. I mean, that's all I can really put it. He didn't have a good game. He didn't shoot the ball very well. He was careless with the basketball. He gave up a turnover with about 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. He gave up a turnover and Middleton was able to get the basket. And he really was just making mistakes that you normally wouldn't see from Chris Middleton. Or not Chris Middleton, I'm sorry, Chris Paul. Yeah, for the Suns, for Devin Booker, out of the starters, Devin Booker had more points than the 4 rest of his starters combined. He had 40. Everybody else had 32. DeAndre Ayton played. Didn't really play that good from the scoring standpoint. Not that good. He had 17 boards, though. He had 17 boards, but he only had 6 points. Wasn't really a good night for really any Sun besides Devin Booker, who had 42 points, actually. No one really shot the ball that good. Chris Paul shot 5 for 13. They got to play Cam Johnson more. They got to play Cameron Johnson more. I mean, the man only shot... He went 4 for 6 from the field. He only had 10 points for shooting 4 for 6 from the field. They gotta get him involved way more, scoring, because he's a bucket for sure. I need to see something from Jay Crowder, man, too. 15 points. That's cool and whatnot, but need to shoot the ball better. When you jacking up that many shots and you're only going 3 for 10 from the field and 3 for 9 from the 3-point line. We need more baskets from Jay Crowder. And DeAndre Ayton just had an off game, man. I mean, he only had 6 points. I mean, they defended him really well. It was a really close game throughout the entire game, honestly. It was tied at 52 at halftime. And no one really had an actual lead. It was a very great game. Me personally, on the Bucks, Drew Holiday went back into the dumpster that game. 4 for 20 shooting. Didn't make a single three. He just, I don't know what's going on with Drew Holiday, but he only got 13 points, 4 for 20. But when he wants to play bully ball, he plays bully ball, and he's a very good post-up guard. Chris Middleton had a very good game, 43 minutes, shot the ball 33 times, shot 45% from the field, dropped 40 points. Giannis only shot the ball 19 times, 57% from the field, had 26 points, 14 boards, 8 assists. He was passing the ball way more. He almost dropped a triple-double. And, you know, as long as you get Drew Holiday shooting the ball a little bit better, it seems very deadly. Pat Connaughton is a very good rebounding guard. He had 11 points, 9 rebounds. He is a very good rebounding guard. He was able to get a board over DeAndre Ayton and get a second chance point out of it. Very impressive, especially for a guy his size. Made a clutch three. It was just absolute cold shot, and it was very clutch. But what the Suns did wrong was they just weren't shooting the ball very good. They were too careless with the basketball. That's what their problem was last night. They were too careless with the basketball, and they did not shoot the ball very good. They gotta fix that. They gotta give Cam Johnson more open looks, more open shots, because he's definitely shooting the ball very good at a consistent rate in this postseason. And that's another guy that they're going to need, because Jay Crowder's going to be having off games. You're going to need a guy like Cam Johnson to be able to step in and drain you some shots, some clutch shots, especially like coming off of a screen. He can easily knock down that mid-range shot and that three-point shot for sure. For the Bucks, just really, it's just Drew Holiday. Just try to, for him, I feel like he's just in games. He kind of gets like a little nervous. I feel like, because when you're just not doing that good, either you're in a bad slump, or you're just nervous about something. So there's definitely something that's on his mind about his shot. The way how his jumper is right now, because it just doesn't look fluid whatsoever. That's personally what I believe. But yeah, the Suns also got to do a better job next game of spacing the floor. They didn't really do a good job this game of giving their playmakers besides Devin Booker a open look. Their spacing was a little unorganized for sure on plays. Their communication wasn't really there, and it cost them the game. So for the Suns, they just got to bounce back. And for the Bucks, you play like that, you'll win at 6. I mean, I got Bucks in 7, but like I said, man, they win that series, Bucks in 6. I mean, hey, that's cool too. But yeah, that's really that's all I got for the game. I got Bucks winning next game. I do. I feel like they got great momentum going back to Phoenix. They know what type of environment it is. They definitely know what they gotta do. It's gonna be a great game, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. But anyway, Game 5 I believe is Saturday. So that's gonna be very exciting. Saturday night watching NBA final basketball. That's always exciting to me. The next game, Game 6, back in Milwaukee, will be, I believe, on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday. And then if there's a Game 7, we'll probably be on a Friday in Phoenix. So, that's going to be it for that topic. On the NBA Finals, we'll just see what happens in Game 5, as the series is now tied. Like I said, Game 4 is the most important series. Game 5 is, is the momentum factor, for sure. But anyway, we got the second half of the MLB season coming up. Very excited for that. There's a lot of MVP talk to talk about. But my question is, I guess just for myself is like, who would be the MVP for the first half of the season between both leagues, the AL and the NL? For my AL MVP, I had Shohei Ohtani. For the NL, I picked Fernando Tatis. Like maybe about like a week ago, I was thinking about this, picking Fernando Tatis for the beginning, but then Jacob deGrom would take it at the end of the season. That's what I'm feeling, That's what I'm feeling. He's not that great of a defensive shortstop, but he definitely makes plays. He's a very good hitter. Very great speed. Can track a ball very well. DeGrom has that ERA, and that thing is like borderline, like, oh my god, like that, like he's a god, like. But I just personally think that I might got to give it to Fernando for the first half, but I believe DeGrom will take it the rest of the way in the second half of the season. And I believe Shohei Ohtani is the MVP overall. I'm making that early case right there that he is MVP. I am putting that down. No one will tell me twice unless he gets injured. But we don't want that to happen. Unless he gets injured, then it will probably be Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Or maybe if Vladdy gets a triple crown, man, because he's right there. I mean, if Ohtani can just keep up on hitting tanks, I mean, Vladdy won't get that triple crown, and then I would put it at Ohtani. But if Vladdy gets that triple crown, we might have to give it to Vladdy, honestly, because getting a triple crown, the last person to get a triple crown in the American League is Miguel Cabrera in 2013. That was the last person to get a triple crown. It's not a very easy thing to do. I don't remember the last player in the NL who had a triple crown. I don't remember. But I know in the AL it was Miguel Cabrera. In 2013, when I believe they made the ALCS, and in the next year, they made the World Series. I think they got swept. But yeah, those are definitely gonna be my MVPs right now. For sure right now, but in the long run, I got DeGrom for the NL, and I'm gonna keep it at Ohtani for now, unless something crazy happens. That's what I got. But today, I think today obviously is gonna be another short podcast day. Nothing really is going on. I mean, throughout the week, nothing spectacular has gone on, but nothing spectacular. But I think before we transition back into football, we got to go back to just Giannis for a second. Giannis's block over DeAndre Ayton. People are having talks that his block was the same or better than LeBron's, right? Now the block in general could be better, but the magnitude of the situation was definitely lower than LeBron's. LeBron's was in a Game 7 where they were coming back down 3-1, where the Warriors get that shot, the momentum might shift. Who knows? You know what I mean? The momentum might shift. Bron gets the block. The crowd is in complete awe, as in, oh man. Now, I'm not saying Giannis' block wasn't good, but I'm just saying the magnitude of it. The magnitude was definitely a little bit lower, but also had a very greater purpose. Because if you didn't get that block off, he would have got yammed on, and then who knows? Suns might have maybe went on a run, and then next could have finished the game. But that Giannis block definitely has to go up there for one of the best blocks in finals history, in my opinion. Because of the magnitude of the situation, of how much time there was left. They were down in the series too, against a guy who knows how to slam an alley-oop, DeAndre Ayton. We saw that in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Clippers, Western Conference Finals against the Clippers. My bad. We saw that against the Clippers. But I definitely got to put it up there with one of the best blocks of all time in the finals. Just because of the magnitude and how great it was, too. I mean, the long arm extension to get that ball was crazy. And a week ago, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, we weren't even talking about maybe Giannis even being in the finals. Saying that, like, wow, he messed up his, like, badly. We weren't even talking about that. You know, like, we weren't even talking about him being in the finals, and now he's playing at such a high consistent rate. So it's definitely very impressive to see that Giannis is definitely still helping his team out when we thought he completely injured himself out for the rest of the season, because the way how his knee looked, I mean, that thing ain't supposed to bend like that. I mean, it ain't supposed to look like that. So we'll see, you know, what happens in Game 5, but the series has been really, really great. Really great. Obviously, there's NBA fans who are like, oh, we should got this and that. But there's always people who are angry over what the series is and which teams are playing. So it's not like that really matters anyway. It's not like it really matters. But yeah, I definitely got to put that block up there with some of the greats. For sure, 100%. But we got that out the way. That amazing block out the way. Now, I was gonna save my wide receiver list for next week, but we're gonna talk about it today. I am making. I think I said this yesterday. If I did not, I'm gonna say it again. I am making a top 25 college football preseason poll. It will be coming out next week. I've started making it, but it's not going to come out this week. It will come out next week. Just overall, I'm still trying to get my list together, trying to figure out like which teams from last season did good and which teams, you know, either didn't play enough games or had injuries and maybe can make the poll, or the I guess top 25, and teams won their conference and whatnot. What teams I believe will do good this season, you know what I mean? So I mean, we're still in the works of that, but I started that yesterday night, and I will definitely get that out next week for sure. I do not know what day, but it will definitely be next week. But yeah, we're gonna start off with my top 5 receivers list. And you know, just tell me, you know, just tell me what you think, you know, because it's definitely a interesting list. It's definitely not like the usual. It's definitely interesting. So with number 5 on the list, this is gonna be a surprise for everybody. Number 5 on the list going into the 2021 season for wide receivers is Julio Jones. Yes, Julio Jones. Now, why am I saying Julio Jones, for instance? Well, he only played 9 games last season, but in his 9 games, he had 771 yards. If he played all of the games, he would have had more receiving yards than Tyreek Hill and DeAndre Hopkins, I believe. Stephon Diggs had the most in the league. We know that. I think he had about 1,581 or something, if I'm not mistaken. But he would have had more than Tyreek Hill and I believe DeAndre Hopkins. Now, people will say, like, what about Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas? I posted my top 5 on TikTok, and these were the most, most answered questions is that why is Michael Thomas getting disrespected? One bad year. Calvin Ridley should be on this list if we're going by like receivers like that. Well, here's the thing for me. Michael Thomas for me is, I'm not disrespecting Michael Thomas, but not putting him on this top 5 list. I can't put Michael Thomas on this list because he didn't play last season really at all. I can't do that. I can't put Michael Thomas on the list. That's too big of a man. How would you call it? Of a thing to do is to put Michael Thomas, who didn't even really play last season, put him on this top 5 list. I can't do that because I don't know how he's gonna play this season. Because with that logic of what I'm thinking of, or what I'm saying right now, with that logic, let me just put OBJ on the list. You know, Odell Beckham was a top 5 receiver. As soon as he got injured, you know, and started underperforming because he's injured, it went down. People forget how good OBJ is. People forget about it. Like, people honestly forget. So with that logic there, I can't put Michael Thomas on there because I personally, once you come back from an injury, you might not be the same. You know? He played in the playoffs, but he didn't only really got 2 catches in the Buccaneers game. You know what I mean? I can't. It's too big of a. It's too big of a I guess you say of a risk. Well, not a risk, but I guess reward to put Michael Thomas at like the number 5 or number 4 position when he hasn't played. For Calvin Ridley, he wouldn't have gotten all those yards if Julio was playing. Calvin Ridley, the past 2 years, has had about 800 receiving yards, while Julio has about like 1,300 to the 1,200. Julio had 771. Calvin Ridley played every game, and he had about 1,350. I'm not putting Calvin Ridley on the list because if Julio was playing, he wouldn't have gotten that many yards. That's why I didn't put Calvin Ridley on there. Because he was the only person that Matt Ryan could really throw the ball to. That's why I didn't put Calvin Ridley on the list. He's still a great receiver, but is he top 5? No. So that's personally why. Number 4 on my list is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill had a great season. He had about 1,250 something yards. I personally believe. I don't know. I don't got a stat sheet in front of me. I'm going off the top of my membrane from what he did last season. But Tyreek Hill is a speedster. He's a speed threat. It's really hard for guys to guard him based off of his speed, his agility, his lateral movement, and quickness. And really, it's like, do you guys remember that one catch Tyreek Hill had against the Broncos? Sunday Night Football, the Broncos, where he caught the ball, and he actually caught it for a touchdown, but it was ruled incomplete, and Tyreek didn't even know he caught it. It bounced off of, I believe, I don't know if it was a cornerback's back or if it was Justin Simmons' back, but it bounced off, and then it landed right in his hands. He didn't think he caught it, but he did. So that instantly would have put him above, I believe, 1,300 yards. If he caught that catch, because that was about like a 50-yard bomb, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely he's a speedster. He is. The game he had against the Buccaneers was insane. 201 yards in the first quarter. That's insane. He was on pace to have like 800 receiving yards in that game. It's just impossible to guard him. You guys already know how it is. Number 3 on my list is Stephon Diggs. For Stephon, he had the most receiving yards in the league by not a landslide, but by a good margin. I think he had the most catches in the league too. Josh Allen really loved throwing to him. But Stephon is a great route runner. He's a great route runner. He has good speed, great hands, really great hands. And everything I just like about Stephon's game is just like how he transitioned over from Minnesota to Buffalo. Probably the most even trade ever. Buffalo giving up their pick to Minnesota for Stephon Diggs, and then Minnesota getting Justin Jefferson. who had a great season, had an absolutely great season, part of my honorable mention, had a great season, flat out, most even trades I have ever seen, period. No, and I had to put him 3 on the list because he had a really great breakout season, being the number 1 receiver. I had to put him on the list. Leading the league in catches, receiving yards, not touchdowns, but receiving yards. So it was very, very impressive to me, and the way how he played, the way how he handled himself in games, really impressed me. Number 2 is DeAndre Hopkins. D-Hop, we know about D-Hop. That man don't draw balls, man. He's a absolute stud. I believe Jalen Ramsey's put D-Hop on his hardest receivers to guard. I believe he put him on there. One, because he has to face him 2 times a year, and 2, because he knows what he's about. They've always faced each other 2 times a year. It's never really been a season where they didn't. And D-Hop, obviously, one of the greatest hands we have seen in our generation. Great route runner, good speed, has a good QB, Kyle Murray, the Hail Murray. Still remember that day against the Bills. Just constantly puts up great numbers with multiple QBs. It's always done that. So he always will be in my top 5. D-Hop, because he will put up the same numbers with the same QB, whether it was like David Carr, Brock Osweiler. God, I can't even remember his last name. Damn. God, is Brock. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, I can't even speak right now. Deshaun Watson, Kyle Murray, Osweiler. Yeah, that's how you say it. Brock Osweiler. That's how you say it. That he just puts up constant good numbers with just multiple QBs, and that's why he's got to be in the top 5 for sure. For sure. And number 1, who I believe was the best receiver last year, was Davante Adams. I believe he got 18 touchdowns last season, was second in receiving yards and catches, I think, if I am not mistaken. He had a really good season. He has a QB, obviously, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who might not return, but who knows? We haven't gotten a word on that yet, which is why I'm keeping him at number 1, Keeping him at number 1, because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers might return back or not. We don't know what's going on with that. But he has said he hasn't. He says he hasn't or won't return, so he's going to stand number 1 for now. Obviously, we know about Davante, man. He's one of the best route runners in the league. He will really put you on your ass for sure. He's a physical receiver. Great in space too. Lengthy, can really stretch the field out. Really make you as a safety guess where he's gonna go. He's very crafty in his route running too. We have seen that over the years. And he's really good at the fade ball. Really good at the fade ball and the slant, man. Really good in that end zone. That's why he had 18 touchdowns. He could have had 20 in some games if they weren't blowing teams out. But was a really good D-ball threat, really good red zone threat, and that's what we as a receiver and a person actually looking over not even their stats but just their overall game. That's why I picked him number 1, because I believe he had a really good season. I believe he had the best season of his career, I believe, and he had the best season last year of any receiver. But yeah, that's my top 5. Julio Jones, 5. Tyreek Hill, 4. Stephon, 3. DeAndre Hopkins, 2. And then Davante Adams, 1. Guys who were left off the list, but who could be on the list. Michael Thomas is 1. Calvin Ridley is 2. Yes. Keenan Allen is a very underrated receiver. 3. You could put AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson on this list, Allen Robinson as your honorable mentions. I mean, like, there are so many guys who you can, you know, you can put into like a whole like honorable mention list as like, oh, they can maybe be that 5 or maybe that 4, you know, just based off of just way how they play, like who they got, you know, what numbers they can put up consistently. But yeah, you know, there was a lot of, I think last year, a lot of talk over who was the best receiver. People would compare DK Metcalf to Kevin Johnson for some odd apparent reason. I don't know why, but DK Metcalf is not a top 5 receiver in my eyes right now. He's not. People think he is, but he's not. He's not. Justin Jefferson? He had a really good season, but top 5 right now, that's a little pushing it, man. We gotta see consistency. You had a great rookie season, a Hall of Fame rookie season, record-breaking rookie season, but can you keep the consistency going? You know, that's what you gotta see for in your year 2. You know, so we'll see what happens, man. There's definitely some great receivers in this game. Making a top 10 list would not be easy. It would be very difficult, in my opinion. Just because of just like how many guys can be in the top 10 that are that good for that topic. But yeah, that's who I got for the receivers, man. Our tight end list will be coming up next week. We're making a tight end list, top 5 tight ends, receiving tight ends, you know, obviously. It's gonna be good, man. It's definitely going to be one of the most, I guess, fun topics to talk about. As there's just so many, as in like so many young guys who stepped up, or young guys at the tight end position who will be in the league for like the next like 5 to 10 years, you know. So I'm definitely excited to talk about that next week. But anyway, that will be it for today. My voice is really dry. I've been talking a little bit too much so far. I talked a little too fast today, but that will be it for the podcast today. I will see you guys tomorrow on Friday. So we're almost at the end of the week, you know. Stay strong, let's keep positive vibes, and then make it to Friday, man. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.